Welcome to the Holistic Life Podcast, where the wisdom of the Word of God lights our path to mind, body, soul, and spirit wellness. Each episode, we delve into living a life that's not just healthy, but wholly aligned with the spiritual principles, exploring the intersection of faith and well-being. Join us as we uncover divine guidance for wellness, meditation, and harmony in life, taking this journey on living fully in His grace. Your transformation, grounded in faith and understanding, starts now. Hey, welcome. Listen, so we did it. We did 50 days. I know you say, what are you talking about? We did 50 days of consecutive video content. And I know some of you are catching up, some of you finished early, some of you joined halfway through and are still going. But this week marks 53 days of this journey and the official end of the 50-day visibility challenge. And I just wanted to take just these 30 minutes with you today to reflect on exactly what happened, not on what I taught, but on what you did and what I did. Because this was never even about me showing up every day. This was about you showing up every day. And some of you did. So go ahead and grab your coffee, get comfortable, get your tea, and let's talk about what changed in 50 days. Again, this is the Holistic Life Podcast. I'm your host, Shelby Frederick, also known as Lady Jules. We are broadcasting live from the Columbus, Ohio region. So I want to take us back through this journey of what we built together. When I started this 50-day journey, I had no idea what would happen. I knew I needed to show up. I knew that I had something to say. I knew that there were women out there who needed to hear it, but I didn't know if anyone would actually even watch. I didn't know if it would matter. I didn't know if 50 days was too long, if it was too ambitious, if it was just too much. And then you showed up on day 1 through 10, day 25, day 47. You showed up in the comments, you sent messages, you shared your stories. And somewhere around day 20, I realized that this wasn't just content anymore, that this was literally transformation. So let me tell you what we built together during this time. There were 5 phases that we walked through. Days 1 through 10 was to discern. We started figuring out where we actually were, not where we wish we were, not where we used to be, but where we are. We talked about misalignment, burnout, the gap between where you are and where you know you're supposed to be. And for some of you, just naming it was the breakthrough because you finally had language for what you were feeling. Now, days 11 through 20, this is where we dismantled. We built a foundation. We talked about boundaries. We talked about rest, saying no, protecting your yes. We talked about the rhythms instead of goals, systems instead of willpower. And some of you set boundaries that you've been avoiding for years. You said no for the first time. You protected rest. You stopped overcommitting, and it felt scary. It felt hard, but it also felt right. Now, days 21 through 30 was build, and that was week 3. This is where it got real. We stopped talking about breakthrough in one area and started talking about breakthrough in every area because you can't compartmentalize transformation. You can't have boundaries at work, but then have chaos at home. You can't rest on Sundays, but then burn out Monday through Friday. So we integrated We transferred, we applied the principle everywhere. Then days 31 through 40 was where we went into activate or integrate. And this is where we had to defend what we built. Because the moment that you set a boundary, somebody's going to test it. That moment that you build that rhythm, life will disrupt. Life be lifing, as we say. The moment you say no, guilt shows up. So we talked about protection. We talked about fighting what you built. And what does it mean to stand firm? And some of you had to have the hard conversations. There are sometimes, some of you had to cut people off. You had to disappoint people to honor yourself. And you did it. And then days 41 through 50, that was activate. And this is where we finally moved. We stopped preparing and started doing. We stopped waiting for permission and started walking in the calling. We stopped asking, am I ready? And started asking, well, what's mine to do today? And you activated, you started that thing. You made the move, you took the step. 50 days, 5 phases. And you're not the same person that you were on day one. I'm not the same person that I was on day one. So I want to talk about evidence of transformation. Let me tell you what I've seen in some of the comments and in some of the DMs, some of the messages, some of the stories that you've shared, because transformation has evidence. So here's what changed. You set boundaries, the boundaries that you've been avoiding for years. I've read the comments from women who said finally they told their bosses that they weren't working weekends. They set boundaries with family members who were draining them. They said no to commitments that they didn't want. They protected their rest for the first time in years. One woman told me that she blocked her ex finally after 2 years of staying friends out of guilt. Another woman told me that her mom, told her mom she's not hosting Thanksgiving this year, and she didn't apologize for it. Another woman left her job, the one that was killing her, the one that she had been complaining about for 3 years. And that's not theory. Mm-mm. That's not theory. That is what we call transformation. Transformation. Transformation has evidence. It really does. And this is part of this whole journey that we have been on, showing the evidence that transformation actually works. That transformation, you stop doing the things that don't work. You stop doing the work actually that was never yours. I've heard from women who realized that they were carrying everyone else's assignments, women who were exhausted because they were doing everything, not because they were called to, but because they can. Ask me how I know. And what did you do? You released it. You said, this is not mine. You stopped picking up what other people dropped. You stopped filling the gaps that weren't yours to fill. And suddenly, now you had energy again. Because busy isn't that badge of honor that I talked about. Busy, it's a warning sign that you've lost sight of your assignment and you found it again. You built rhythms that actually stick. I've watched women go from chaos to consistency, from being having reactive schedules to intentional rhythms, from I'll do it when I have time to this is non-negotiable. I'm talking about the morning routines, the evening wind downs, the weekly planning, the Sabbath rest, the very small things, the daily things, the boring things, the kind of things that don't make for inspiring Instagram posts, but the kind of things that actually change your life. You stopped waiting for permission and started moving. And this one gets me every single time. Women who have been sitting on their calling for years finally took the first step. They started the business, published the post, had the conversation. They made the move, not because they were suddenly confident, but because they realized they don't need to be. God already called you, and that's the permission. Now move. So just let that sit there. Move. You showed up when nobody was watching. And maybe this is the most important one because you didn't wait for motivation. You didn't wait to feel like it. You didn't wait for perfect conditions. You showed up on the hard days. You showed up on the boring days, the days where I don't feel like it days. You showed up when the video had 12 views or one view, when nobody liked the post, when it felt like it didn't matter. And that consistency, that's what built everything else. So, yeah, I see you. I see what you did. And I'm telling you, transformation has evidence, and the evidence is all over your life. So, what 50 days can do? Let's talk about it. Before we talk about what comes next, I need you to understand something. 50 days changes everything. And it's not because 50 is some magic number, but it's because consistency over time creates compound transformation. So let me tell you what 50 days actually does. 50 days breaks the cycle because most people quit at day 3, day 7, day 21. They start strong, they have the motivation, they make the commitment, and then life happens. Life gets to lifing. They miss a day, they feel guilty, and then they quit. But 50 days, you can't fake 50 days. I couldn't fake 50 days coming on here. You can't rely on motivation for 50 days. You have to rely on discipline. You have to be disciplined. You can't be perfect for 50 days. You have to learn grace. You can't quit every time it gets hard for 50 days. You have to push through. 50 days breaks the cycle of starting and stopping. It teaches you that transformation is not about perfection, but it is about persistence. 50 days builds new neural pathways. Science says it takes 21 days to build a habit, but that's only the start. It actually takes 66 days for a behavior to become automatic. So 50 days gets you almost there. By day 50, the boundary you set, it's not foreign anymore. It's familiar. The rhythm you built, it's not forced anymore. It's natural. The no you said isn't scary anymore. It's standard. Why? Because your brain rewires itself in 50 days. So what felt impossible on day 1, it feels normal by day 50. Yeah. 50 days gives you proof. And most people don't believe transformation is possible for them. They believe it's possible for other people, but not for themselves. Why? Because they've tried too many times. They failed too many times. They started and stopped too many times. They don't trust themselves anymore. But 50 days, it gives you proof that you did show up for 50 days. You did set the boundary. You did build the rhythm. And that's not theory, that's evidence. And once you have evidence, you can't unhear it. You can't go back to, I can't do this because you did do this. 50 days gives you proof that you're capable of more than you thought. It's the proof. It's the proof in the pudding. That's what 50 days does. And that's the journey that we have been on for these 50 days. My goodness. That's the journey that we have been on. You can't undo it. You can't unsee it. You can't go back. There is nothing to go back to. because you blew up that box. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You blew up that box. What did you blow up? That thing that was stopping and blocking your momentum, because that's what 50 days creates. 50 days create momentum. And here's what most people don't understand about momentum: momentum doesn't start on day one, momentum builds actually around day 20. So the first 20 days are hard. Why? Because you're fighting resistance. You're fighting building discipline. You're proving to yourself that you can do this. But around day 20, something begins to shift. It begins to get easier. And you stop thinking about it so much and you just do it. By day 30, now you have momentum. By day 40, you're unstoppable. By day 50, you're a different person. And that momentum doesn't stop at day 50. It carries into day 60, day 100, day 365. So 50 days doesn't just change 50 days, it changes the trajectory of your life. 50 days separates you from everyone else. And you want to know what sets successful people apart? It's not talent, it's not luck, it's not connections. It's the ability to show up consistently when nobody's watching. Most people will start, but few people will finish. Most people, they'll commit for a week, but few will commit for 50 days. Most people will post when they feel inspired, but few will post when they don't. 50 days sets you apart from everyone else because by day 50, you've proven you're not like most people. You're the woman who finishes what she starts. You're the woman who shows up even when it's hard. You're the woman who builds when others quit. And that's who you are now. That's who I am now. So when I say 50 days changed you, changed me, I'm not exaggerating. 50 days broke some cycles. It rewired your brain. It gave you proof. It built momentum. It separated you from everyone else. And now you get to decide, what are you going to do with that? Because the next 50 days, that's where legacy gets built. So I want to talk about what comes next. Okay, so we finished 50 days. Now what? Because here's the thing about transformation: you don't arrive. You don't arrive at transformation, you keep building. Breakthrough isn't a destination, it's a foundation. And if 50 days did this much, imagine what the next 50 days will do. So let me tell you what happens next. And I'm going to be very clear about your options because I don't want you to lose what you built. The question you need to answer is, what do you need most right now? Do you need foundation work, or do you need implementation support? Do you need to heal and rebuild, or do you need to activate and execute? Do you need to discern your calling, or do you need help doing your calling? Because I built two programs for two different seasons, and I'm about to tell you which one is for you. So, option one, you can keep going on your own. Some of you don't need a program. Some of you need to keep doing what you're doing. You built the rhythms, you set the boundaries, you know your assignment. Now you just need to protect it. So, here's what I want you to do: a weekly check in. Every Sunday, ask yourself, did I honor my boundaries this week? Mhm. Did I protect my rhythms? Did I move on my calling? What needs to adjust? And I want you to write it down and be honest. Course correct. I want you to do a monthly audit. Once a month, do a full audit. Where am I aligned? Where am I slipping? What's working? What needs to change? Don't wait until you're burned out again. Audit before the crash. Next, I want you to find accountability. You need someone who will ask you the hard questions, not someone who will let you make excuses, but someone who will call you out when you're slipping back into old patterns. Find that person and give them permission to hold you accountable. Hmm. If that's your path, I celebrate you. Go, build, and I'll be here still creating content to support you because that's what we do. This is what I have been called to do in this season. This is my assignment. You know, when it comes to what I have been called to steward, and the Lord has made it very, 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 very clear. Now, option two is to join the D.D.B framework. And this is our foundation work because some of you love these 50 days, but you don't, but you know you need to go deeper. You got clarity, but you're still rebuilding from burnout. You set some boundaries, but you need help dismantling the strongholds that keep pulling you back. You're still breaking generational cycles. You're still figuring out what your actual assignment is. If that's you, the D.D.B framework is your next 50 days. Actually, it's 56 days because it's 8 weeks. And we go deep. What is D.D.B? D.D.B stands for discern, dismantle, and build. Discern your season and your assignments. We don't just identify misalignment. We help you discern what God is actually calling you to do right now. Not what you wish He was calling you to do, what He's calling you to. Dismantle. This is the emotional, mental, and spiritual strongholds. So we don't just talk about what's blocking you, we dismantle it. The generational cycles, limiting beliefs, fear, shame, control, we tear it all down. Now, build, we help you to build sustainable rhythms for breakthrough. So we don't just set goals, we build systems and we create the rhythms and integrate breakthrough into every area of your life. So, what do you do? What do you get? 8 weeks of live group coaching on Tuesdays. We go through the D.D.B principle workbook and do all of the weekly activation sheets. You have your private community support because you're not doing this alone. And there's lifetime replay access where you can come back whenever you need it. There is also a bonus break the cycle 5-day challenge replays for the 3 tiers that you choose from, right? So this is what we do. Choose your tier, choose what works for you, and come on and continue on in this journey. The next cohort starts January 6, 2026. There are payment plans that are available for all of the tiers. Listen, who is D.D.B for? Women rebuilding from burnout, women breaking generational cycles, women who need to discern their season and assignment, women who need deep healing work before they can build, women who keep starting and stopping and need structure. If you need foundation work, D.D.B is your next step. These 50 days gave you a taste, but D.D.B gives you the full meal. And all of the details are in the description below. Now, option three is to join the Activate experience. And this is where what I call implementation coaching, because some of you don't need foundation work. You know your calling. You've done the inner work. You built the boundaries. You don't need more healing. You need more doing. You don't need to discern your assignment. You need help executing it. You don't need another revelation. No, you need implementation support. And so, if that's you, the Activate experience is your next 84 days. That's the 12 weeks of turning calling into consistent action. So, what is the Activate experience? It's a 12-week implementation program for women who are done preparing and ready to build legacy. You've had the breakthrough. Now let's sustain it. You know what you're called to do. Now we're just going to activate it. You have the vision. Let's build the systems to support it. So, what do you get? Bi weekly live activation calls. You're going to get weekly pre recorded implementation content. It's 12 modules. You're going to be in an accountability pod assignment. This is our small group peer support, private community access on our school platform. You're going to receive the Activate Framework workbook, your monthly strategy one on one check ins, lifetime replay vault access, and priority support channel. And then there's a bonus. You're going to get the legacy blueprint template. So there are payment plans available for that. That cohort is going to start March 9th, 2026. So you've got plenty of time. Who is this Activate experience for? It's for the women who finish these 50 days and want to keep momentum. It's women who know their calling, but they struggle with consistent action. It's women who are done with the foundation work and they are ready to build. This is for the women who want accountability, structure, and community. This is the women who are committed to building legacy and not just chasing breakthrough. If you're ready to activate this, then this is your next step. So no more waiting, no more preparing, no more, I'm not ready yet. You're ready. So let's go. So all of the details are going to be in the description below. And I tell you, there is also an option for you to do both. There's an option for you to do both. And so this is your where we're going next. This is where we're going next. You can choose whichever path, whichever journey that you decide to do. I'm just delighted that I've had the opportunity to walk these 50 days with you, for the daily videos, and also doing summary for the Holistic Life podcast. And so I'm just here to tell you thank you. I want to tell you thank you. Thank you so very much. And I know that that may sound a little weird, but you're thanking me in the comments, but I need to thank you because these 50 days changed me too. I showed up every day, not knowing if it mattered, not knowing if anyone cared, not knowing if I was making a difference. And then you showed up. You commented, you shared, you told me your stories, you told me when something clicked, when you finally set the boundary, when you took the step. And every single time, it reminded me why I do this. I don't do this for views. I don't do this for followers. I do this for women like you, women who are tired of living misaligned, women who are ready to stop settling, women who know that they're called to more and are finally ready to build it. That's who I do it for. And you showed up for me every single day and let me know that it matters. So thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for doing the work. Thank you for being honest in the comments. Thank you for sharing your wins, for celebrating others, for building this community with me. Thank you. This was never just about me talking at you. This was us walking together. And I'm so very grateful you walked with me. So very grateful. Thank you. So before we wrap up today, let me tell you what I learned in 50 days. What I learned in 50 days was consistency compounds. Day one, I had 0 views. Day 10, a couple. a few more, a few more, and a few more. And it wasn't because the content got better, it was because consistency builds trust, and trust builds community, and community changes lives. I learned that transformation isn't loud, that the biggest breakthroughs didn't happen on the viral days. They happened on the quiet days, the boring days, the only two people watch this days, because the women who needed it found it and their lives changed. And that's what matters. I learned that people are hungry for real. You don't want perfectly curated content. You don't want surface level inspiration. You want someone who will tell you the truth. You want someone who will call you out when you're making excuses. You want someone who will celebrate you when you take the step. You want real. And I'm so glad I gave you real. I learned that showing up matters, even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when nobody's watching. Showing up matters because you never know who needs to hear it. You never know whose life will change because you didn't quit. So I didn't quit, and neither did you. And that's why we're here at day 53. That's why we're here. So, in my closing, here's what I want you to do right now. Drop a comment below and tell me one thing that changed in these 50 days. One boundary you set, one thing you released, one step you took. I want to hear it. I want to celebrate you. And I want others to see what's possible and then decide what's next. Are you going solo? Joining D.D.B? Joining Activate? Doing both? Whatever you choose, choose. Don't let the momentum die. 50 days down, the rest of your life to go. So let's build something that lasts. I'll see you in the next season, which will be next Friday for our next Holistic Life podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Blessings.
Thank you for joining us on the Holistic Life Podcast, where our foundation is the Word of God and our path is wellness in His light. We hope today's episode enriches your journey to a life of health and spiritual fulfillment. Remember, each step toward holistic living is a step closer to embodying His teachings. For continued inspiration, follow our journey. Until next time, embrace your faith, nurture your entire being, and watch your life bloom in His glory. We'll catch you on the airways. Be blessed.